Yo YouTube, what's up? I'm Sammy's AC. It's the kashkellyandac Sports Report. An interesting conversation came up today when our English teacher said that Miracle was the greatest sports movie of all time. Now, I'd probably put that in the top 10 at like 8 or 9, but top 5 even? That seems like a stretch to me. Me and AC got the idea of making a video of our top 5 sports movies, and you guys leave yours in the comments below, and maybe we'll read off some in a future episode. Now, number 5, AC, who do you have?
Number 5, I have your town, your team, your Cleveland Indians with Major League. I think that was a really good movie. Charlie Sheen. Say what you want about him now, but I mean, man, he was a good actor. He was a good actor. I thought it was well written. I really thought it was a really funny, good storyline movie.
Yeah, I agree too. I didn't put that at my number 5. I'd put that in the top 15 or 20. If you're talking funny sports movies, depending on whether you consider NASCAR a sport, I'd put that in the top. I'd put Ricky Bobby up there ahead of Major League. I just think that movie's so funny. But number 5, I got Hoosiers. Great movie about basketball. I'm having trouble remembering the storyline, but I remember it's a great movie. I haven't seen it in a while. Number 4, AC, who do you have?
Number 4, I got The Blindside. Now, this is tough for a lot of people because it's so new, so it hasn't really had the chance to become like a classic yet. But I mean, it's still a really good movie with that guy, with the kid coming from like the slums,
Yeah, Michael
and,
Orr.
having nothing, and then he just blows up and becomes like one of the greatest offensive linemen ever, apparently. So I like that movie a lot. It really touched my heart.
Well, he's been in the league a few years. I wouldn't go greatest offensive lineman ever, but
Well, I mean, they portrayed him to be.
yeah, I know what you mean. I'm just busting your balls. Number 4, I got Field of Dreams. How can you not like that movie? If you build it, they will come. What's his face? I can't think of the main actor's name, but you know who it is. And then you got, I can't even remember James Earl Jones is in this movie too. He's in a bunch of these top 5 movies. He does a tremendous job in this. It's not just about baseball though. I mean, the end where he's playing catch with his dad, it's so sad. It's such a good movie though. It really is. At number 3, AC, who do you got?
Number 3, I got The Sandlot. You can't knock this movie. That's such a nice movie. I can't pick out one thing about this movie because the entire movie is so good. It's so nice, man. I love that movie. Maybe it's because I'm young and because, I could relate to it, but whatever, man. I love that movie.
That movie is a classic, man. There is so much that is good about that, and I'll get to. I will. Number 1, The Sandlot number 1 was good. The Sandlot 2 sucked, and the third one I actually thought was pretty good. I mean, but you cannot beat the original. And people who want to sit here and say that Sandlot's only a kids movie, shut up. It's not. It's not even new, A. So I mean, the people that have grown up, and B, there's so many classic lines, and it's so believable, too. Back in the days when people actually cared about baseball, which are the days I wish I lived in.
My favorite quote from that movie, to Benny Rodriguez, baseball was not a game. Baseball was life. And no one seems to feel that way anymore, except us.
Yeah, I do.
I hate it.
Number 3 is The Natural for me. I think that this was a tremendous movie. Robert Redford, that's the guy in this movie's name. And he does a tremendous job. He's supposed to be this top prospect. I think he gets like shot with by a mistress or something. And then he comes back when he's really old and he's having this great season. They get to the World Series and he has like a heart attack or something. And then they find out it's because of the bullets lodged in there. And the doctor says, if you ever play again, you're probably going to die. He goes out there for Game 7 of the World Series and like hits a walk-off home run. It shatters the lights. And the whole thing throughout the movie was he didn't even know the kid was his son. It's a tremendous, tremendous movie. If you haven't seen any of the movies we say on this, and you're not a real sports fan, I'm sorry. Number 2, AC, who do you have?
Number 2, I got a real classic. Disney did a great job with this one, Remember the Titans. The thing I love about this movie is it's not just about football. It's about racial discrimination and overcoming the odds and everything like that. It's a real great movie. If you haven't seen it, wow, man, I could recite the whole movie for you basically. I've seen that. I watch that every time it comes on ABC Family, which is like every weekend. And it's real good. It's well written. And I think my favorite scene is when they're just like beating the crap out of that team in the regionals, and Gary goes over and points straight at the coach, and that song comes on. I can't remember what that song's called.
That's the coach who says the thing, who calls his head coach a monkey, right, or whatever.
He calls Denzel Washington a monkey.
Yeah, I have that at number 2 too. I mean, maybe we're a little more current, and some of these movies probably aren't classics to some people, or they're not to the level that we are saying it. But I mean, I love that movie. It is on all the time, and Gary, for the record, looks like Bruce Blitz. But I think that this movie's tremendous, and the best scene for me, you mentioned all the racial discrimination and everything. That's what makes it such a good movie. The best scene in the whole entire movie, besides the parts where they're singing, which are really good too, but the best scene in the whole movie is after Gary gets paralyzed. I think it's from the waist down, and he's in the hospital. Besides him like cheering and screaming at the nurses to get out, the best scene is when his mom walks into the stands and all the parents from the team, black, white, it didn't matter, stood up and cheered for her, and she sat down and they won the game. I mean, that is a great, great movie. Denzel Washington does a nice job. I forget what the guy's name who is the white coach. I've seen him in a lot of other stuff too. He does a really good job. Great movie. Number 1. Should I start the theme music, AC? Who you got?
Number 1, man, I gotta go with Rocky. Rocky's the greatest sports movie of all time. It's the true underdog story. Maybe I'm biased because I'm from Philly. Get over it. I don't care. It's the greatest sports movie of all time. If you haven't seen it, you're not a sports fan, period. Great movie.
Yeah, and I think the thing to look at with that movie is it represents Philly and a lot of big cities like Detroit and places like that. This was
especially Philly and Detroit. I compare those cities.
Like this was a movie of about a hard-working guy, and it was a cheaply made movie. It wasn't any big production, but it was a Philly thing. It captured Philly and some of these big cities that go through some tough times, where everyone works 9 to 5 and it's tough. That's what makes this such a good movie. Number 1 for me, I got The Sandlot. So many good lines. You're killing me, Smalls. The Wendy Paffercorn thing. People just say this is only a kid's movie. Shut up. Because this is the greatest sports movie, in my opinion. I had Rocky at number 6. But Sandlot, for me, it's my favorite movie of all time. I've seen this more than any other movie. Every part of it's good. And I think my favorite parts are either the part where they're roasting the marshmallows, or just in general, You're Killing Me, Smalls, or the L7 Weenie. I mean, everyone recites lines from this movie, whether they know it or not. Great movie. There's our top 5. Leave yours. I'm Timmy's AC. We'll see you later.